It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Monday, February 26th, with your hosts in black and orange. I'm wearing orange. I'm Ray. Zach's wearing black. How are you today, handsome?
That was a strange intro, man. I'm doing great, gang. Happy Monday. We're going to be talking about why you should not be buying a new car right now. And just to get it out of the way, our end of month sale, which also includes deals to buy a new car right now, is going on until Thursday night. That includes the Chevy Trax under $400 a month, $1,000 off on Toyota RAV4s, and most all of the Toyota products, and those APR incentives over on the Mazda CX-50, CarEdge.com. That is who today's show is brought to you by. Now, Dad, let's jump into the data that led to today's headline. If I had to put you on the spot, what do you think the average difference between a dealer's list price for a new car and MSRP is? Do you think they're listing their vehicles for sale at, I don't know, at MSRP, 5% below MSRP, 20% above MSRP? What do you think the difference is right now for new cars
between what the MSRP is and what they're selling them for, or what
their advertised price is? Yeah,
what the MSRP is and what the average? I would say that it is 5% below MSRP. No, not 5%, 2% below MSRP.
All right, now this is the shocking news that led to today's headline, gang. iseecars. Just the other day, about 2 weeks ago, they put out new data, Dad. 20 new cars priced the highest over MSRP, and the 15 priced the lowest below MSRP. iseecars data suggests that new cars are currently priced 7.2% above MSRP right now, down from where they have been, but that car dealers are advertising cars for sale 7.2% above MSRP. I saw that and I was shook, man. How could that be possible?
I don't think it is, but that's just me.
You've got some questions with the methodology, I guess.
Well, the only reason I say I don't think it is, and that's just me, is the ultimate concern is not what they're advertised for, but what the dealer actually sells the damn thing for. I've said it a gazillion times. You can ask whatever you want. It doesn't mean you're going to get it. Now, we work thousands of deals a month with our community, with our coaches, with our concierge. We know that there are deals to be had. Now, that doesn't mean that some areas of the country are harder to get a deal below MSRP than other areas of the country. But I think the real question that begs to be asked is, what are they actually selling the vehicles for in comparison to MSRP, not what they're advertising them for.
I think that's a fair assessment. I will also say, Dad, it is another justification for why, as consumers, we should be thoughtful about when we do go back into the market, because if these types of games are still going on, that's a sign that maybe it needs another few weeks before the pain is really being felt for all the vehicles that are sitting in dealer inventory. You can see here, Dad, the price versus MSRP right now for January 2024 was 7.2%, which is down from 8.9%. So again, that means how much the price of the vehicle was advertised for relative to the vehicle's MSRP. And what iseecars did here that I thought was super interesting, Dad, is they pulled out the particular makes and models that are seeing their prices be, the highest relative to their MSRP versus the lowest. Mini hardtop, man. Must be a hot commodity out there right now. The average price of a mini hardtop is $37,473, yet the average MSRP is just shy of $30,000. And then you see a bunch of Porsches on this list. When you flip it over and look at the inverse side, I'll just comment briefly. It's all EVs, man. All these EVs that are not selling, that dealers are obviously marking down below MSRP.
I will say this, that if you juxtapose the cars that are over MSRP and then go look at the charts of days on market for brands, Mini is high at the moment. I'm pretty sure Mini dealers aren't holding out for all the money. When I believe Mini inventories were running around a 90 some day supply of cars. Um, you might be 25% over MSRP if you have a 20-day supply of cars, but not when you have a 90 some day supply of cars. I honestly, Zach, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how you come up with this, based on why. First of all, why would any dealer advertise it for more than
Than
MSRP?
MSRP.
We
I mean, yeah,
know,
we could understand that maybe like a year ago, but nowadays it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, and we know that when dealers advertise cars, typically they're at fictitiously low prices, not at unbelievably high prices over
True.
MSRP. So I just I it's as David Langle suggests, it's inconceivable. The whole thing, it's just inconceivable. I don't know what their methodology was, but I know when you look on the internet, dealers aren't advertising super high prices to get you in. They
True.
advertise prices that you can't buy the damn thing for to get you in. And then they
That are too
spring it,
low.
yeah. And then they spring it on you gently after they hit you over the head with a baseball bat. Oh, by the way. So, I'm having what's a nice way? In my opinion, I'm having a tough time buying what iseecars is selling.
Yeah, it is interesting, Dad. I had a similar reaction when I first saw it because I was thinking to myself, holy cow, man. Are dealers really advertising their prices still above MSRP? Because there's other data sources that suggest, I think I saw it recently. I forget if it was Edmunds, maybe. It was like 12% of new car transactions in January, I think, were sold over MSRP still. So still over sticker, which is crazy for me to think, but it is still happening. And so I thought, okay, maybe there's some connection here between maybe what was going on in January versus where we are now heading into March. But it is a good reminder as inventories grow, that has to put downward pressure on prices. So maybe this data from iseecars, if they do another update, I don't know, in a couple months, even if the methodology we don't fully understand, it should continue to go down. It absolutely should continue to go down.
We know average transaction prices are going down. We know that for a fact. We see that in the Cox data month after month. So we know the average transaction prices are going down. And the thing that's important is not what the dealer's asking for, but what they ultimately take for it. It's the transaction price that matters, not the asking price. So I'm struggling, and that I typically think very highly of the information that is generated from iseecars.
Definitely.
But I am really struggling with this set of numbers because I don't think it doesn't stand up to reason.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pick on him anymore. Move to a different subject.
All right, let's keep it. We'll jump to the chat here for a moment before we go into our next story. Earlier from the show, Dad, from Jeff Stone. Jeff, thank you for
Jeff.
the kind contribution. Just want to say thank you for what you guys do and the great work you've done on the CarEdge website for buyers looking for a Ram 3500. I plan to wait a while. I think this is a great posture, man. I mean, our business model is now, obviously, we're trying to help people buy cars. And so it looks good for us month in, month out if we've helped more people buy a car. But I think you have to wear the hat of good conscience, Dad.
Yes.
If you're a Ram customer, why not wait? I think we heard it directly from some of our sources that the moment the new CEO or the new COO, there's a new chief executive starting at Stellantis North America.
Yes.
On March 4th, on Monday, a week from today, they're going to have huge incentives. It makes no sense to buy that Ram today when you could buy it next month and it's going to be even cheaper. So I think it makes sense to be waiting on the sidelines. There's no indicator or no indication that things are going to get better for the dealers anytime soon.
Oh, well, it is going to get better for the dealers because they're going to be able to offer even lower prices because the incentives are going to go sky high from Dodge and Stellantis brands. So yeah, the dealers will finally, sit around the table high-fiving each other, going, "Hey, we might actually be able to sell some damn cars this month," because they haven't been. They've been struggling to. Nobody's inventory levels have grown more than Dodge and Ram, and so yeah, they're going to. If this is going to be exciting times if you're a CDJR dealer after
or a CDJR customer.
After the past 12 months of rising inventories, rising prices, and slowing sales, and the slowing sales hasn't been a problem for Stellantis because Stellantis makes their money the moment they invoice the vehicle to their dealer because the dealer is their customer. Now, the dealer isn't making nearly as much money as Stellantis is because the dealer is the one floor planning that inventory and having to take a share of it.
That's what's so, I hate to go back to the iseecars data, but that's what makes it so hard to reconcile the information. Again, if you're joining us late, why would we be saying stop buying new cars? Well, that's been our calling card for a while now, but it's because we saw the headline, new cars are priced 7.2% above, not below, above MSRP now, but prices are following and the gap is closing. It's very tough to reconcile the idea that the advertised or the selling price of a vehicle is 7.2% higher than MSRP when we know Stellantis, for example, are just flooded in inventory and dealers are slashing prices left and right. However, no matter how you slice it and dice it, if sales continue to slow down in the auto industry for weeks and months ahead, that will just put even more downward pressure on the price points for these vehicles. So, we might say stop buying new cars in perpetuity. There are opportunities when you go out there, end of months, for example, or even look at this one, Dad, from GBAT.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bought a 2024 Honda Civic Sport for $3,500 under MSRP in the San Francisco Bay Area, Anderson's Honda in Palo Alto during their so there you go. There's a moment in time.
I would like to ask GBAT a question. What were the charges for any dealer installed accessories? Because I don't believe you're getting $3,500 off on a Honda Civic Sport of 2024 off of MSRP if they are not adding, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000 worth of dealer installed accessories to make up for that. There isn't that type of margin in a 2024 Honda Civic Sport. What is that? A $35,000 to $40,000 vehicle? Well, there's not $3,500 markup.
We saw those Honda Ridgeline, Dad. That Honda Ridgeline deal that was from AutoNation of all places. And what they take off, like 20% on a Honda Ridgeline? I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then they added a poop ton of stuff to it. Everything's relative. Okay, nobody's giving you $3,500 off on a $40,000 vehicle if they aren't making it back up by forcing you to take dealer installed accessories on that vehicle. Hey, we'll give you, unfortunately, we've already done the high quality ceramic window tint for $1,399. We've done the paint and leather sealant for the vehicle. That's another $1,995. The list goes on and on. Nitrogen in your tires for $499. If you are buying a $35,000 to $40,000 Honda Civic Sport for $3,500 off of MSRP, you are paying $3,000 to $3,500 in dealer installed accessories or other fees to make up for that. I'm sorry. I'd like to believe it's possible, but I know it's not.
All right, that's fair assessment. Hopefully we can get follow up from GBAT in the chat here in a second. Let's keep it moving, Pops, and then we have other stories to touch on. But
Okay.
Zario, who had joined us Saturday night
Yes.
over on the CarEdge channel, it was great to see you there, Zario. Thank you for the kind contribution. Hey guys, I returned the Honda.
Yeah.
Congratulations. They never finalized the loan. $24,000 financed on a used 2022, went to Mazda and actually got a 2024 Mazda 3, $25,000 financed, which has way more features, and we didn't have to pay the $7,000 down payment. The Mazda was also $1,000 below MSRP, which was less than the used Civic Sport at Stevens Creek Honda in San Jose, California. Congratulations,
Yes. Glad
Zario.
to hear it.
Mazdas are
Yes.
a great option right now.
Yes.
I mean, just like the APR incentives are awesome. You can get below MSRP. We've got on the CX50s $1,000 up to $1,000 below the dealer invoice price on some of them. So like really, really, really good options out there on the Mazda front, and they have inventory, which
Yes.
is
Yes, they
not what
do.
we're seeing for all the Hondas.
That is so accurate. They have inventory. They're moving their inventory. They're being aggressive. They want to grow their market share. They've set rather lofty goals for volume sales this year, and they are going to hit those goals because they're being aggressive in trying to reach those goals.
100%. All right. Now, we brought it up earlier. I was trying our best to make it through one Monday through Friday daily news you can use without talking about Stellantis. But did you see this other headline, Dad? This actually came out of NADA, and unfortunately, I had missed it. There was actually a session with executives from Stellantis to the dealers where they talked about how they want to have 1/3 less inventory on their dealers' lots. Stellantis dealers will have slimmed down inventories. Manufacturer executives tell dealers the drop will be about 1/3. And this comes from the National Automobile Dealers Association meeting. Dad, if you're a Stellantis dealer right now and you hear this, that's obviously good news, but it's like, a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Well, forget that. If you have 195-day supply of Dodges in inventory at the moment, and you take 1/3 of that, that's what, 70,000, 65,000.
Yeah.
You still have 130-day supply, which is double where you want it to be. So yes, it's great news for those Stellantis dealers to find out that Stellantis is planning on putting their inventory levels on a diet, not a big enough diet, but a diet. So yeah, in a sense, that's good news. But the inventory levels are still going to remain above industry average. They have to do more than just try and constrain their inventory. They need to up their game on incentives to move the existing inventory. In my opinion.
You're 100%. You're 100% right. Now, that's going to lead us to an interesting conversation tied in with the other big headline of today. And I also want to pull up from Streaming Demon this comment as well, because it all ties in. A Ford dealer quoted me $56,000 for a Ford Mustang Mach-E Premium, including $2,700 in add-on, sky-high prices, no discount. This is all total BS. The reason I'm bringing that up, Dad, is because we have seen a big surplus of inventory, not only with Ram and Dodge and Chrysler and Jeep, but with electric vehicles.
Yes.
And that was in part driven by some of the EPA requirements that OEMs were getting prepared for. You see a comment like that from a community member where a dealer who's sitting on tons of Ford Mustang Mach-E's is still trying to charge $2,700 in add-ons. P.S. gang, you can buy a Ford Mustang Mach-E on CarEdge.com with no add-ons and a significant dealer discount, so avoid all that crap. But Dad, we now have shifting macro landscape. I mean, this headline in Automotive News this morning, auto industry has tried to make a case for relaxed EPA vehicle emission rules. It might succeed. In response to industry pressure, the EPA is expected to relax parts of the rule, giving automakers more time to ramp up EV sales, according to published reports. This is timely, Dad, as EV prices on the used car side really start to plummet. And EV sales, while they're still up, the fastest growing segment of vehicle sales in the United States, they are still not a large portion, and growing inventory stockpiles are proving that.
And it is, you've heard me say this for the longest time. EV sales growth was spurred by early adopters. The early adopters have adopted. Okay. The rest of the market that they're depending on, that they need to buy into this, um, is somewhat ambivalent at best about moving to an EV. I
And we know
said this.
price point plays a huge driver there. EVs are more expensive than
Oh my,
hybrids and more
yes.
expensive than ICE vehicles.
And I said this the other night. We need infrastructure to get ahead of the curve as opposed to always being behind the curve. That's the part that if you were to do a survey of why people might consider an EV and then decide not to get it, I believe the main reason they would decide not to get it is the the um, the lack of infrastructure in significant numbers within wherever they live to be able to
Mhm.
charge a vehicle when necessary if they can't charge it at home. Not everybody lives where you can install your own charger. Okay. So that in infrastructure has to get ahead of the curve. Once infrastructure gets ahead of the curve, like when Electrify America actually has, I don't know, working chargers at the majority of their locations, and they can actually electrify America, then maybe we will see greater and more rapid EV adoption. But
I think it's less that, Dad. I don't think people care as much about that as you think. I think it's price point. I think it's 100% price point. We know
it,
all the data shows it, right? All the data shows it. Electric vehicles are more expensive. Unless you're looking to buy a Tesla, electric vehicles are more expensive than internal combustion. And in aggregate, that's true. Electric vehicles are more expensive. Cox
yeah,
Automotive
yes,
recently put out that data. We've talked about it. The cheapest vehicle powertrain to own is a hybrid. That again, Cox Automotive put that data out. Where do we see the most demand for vehicles? It's hybrids.
at the
So I
moment,
think
yes.
it's really price point, Dad, that's the driver. I don't think we talk about it every day, but I think people don't maybe they watch YouTube videos about how Electrify America doesn't work and that turns them off. But what turns them off even more is the idea that the monthly payment is something that they can't afford versus what they can afford.
Well, that's part of it, and that's why the early adopters paid what they did to be an early adopter. The rest of us need the price. Yes, we need the prices to come down, but it's like the Toyota Mirai in California. If you're giving somebody a $40,000 discount, including $15,000 worth of fuel, if you can't get the fuel, it doesn't matter. And so, even if they had much less expensive EVs, if people can't charge them readily, because the infrastructure isn't there or working infrastructure isn't there for that to be able to happen, that's going to slow people down about buying them.
I hear you, Pops.
Yeah, do I think there could be a much faster growing market there? I do, but I think the infrastructure has to be there for that to happen.
I want to turn to a comment here, and then GBAT followed up with us. I want to just pull up something Justice said. Justice, good to see you.
Yeah,
Many sub $50,000 electric vehicles, but not enough sub $30,000 electric vehicles. I hate to do this, but I am going to pull it up. When you're on CarEdge, the tracks, that right there,
yes,
that is the number one seller on CarEdge so far since we've started selling cars. It's the Chevy Trax.
yes,
And why is it the Chevy Trax? Because you can get it under 30,000. You can get it under $25,000.
yes, yes,
And it's a little bit of a biased approach right now because, we just turned on our first Toyota dealer behind the scenes and we're starting to grow that out. But the Chevy Trax is the number one most popular car that CarEdge has sold in our history thus far on behalf of, of dealers. And I think it's all price point, Dad. I really, really do. To Justice's point, there's just not enough options that are affordable for people.
we have, I've beat that dead horse that 3-4 years ago, probably 30% of all vehicles that were new vehicles that were offered for sale in this country had an MSRP of less than $30,000.
Yep.
Today, that number is 10%. And so, yes, there is a percentage of the population that is starving for choice in vehicles below $30,000. And Chevy has decided, at least with the Trax, that that's a vehicle they're going to produce. It's a vehicle they're going to promote to a certain degree. And that is one of their fastest selling vehicles. So it just proves something that we've been saying for months and months and months. It's an affordability issue, whether it be electric or ICE. It's an affordability issue. It has been, it will continue to be. But with electric, it's an affordability issue along with an infrastructure issue. It's a two-pronged thing as opposed to just a one-prong.
All right, GBAT, thank you for the kind contribution. You do not have to donate to have your comment pulled up, but thank you, GBAT. They tried to add, this is on that Honda Civic, $1,000 for Starguard. That's an interesting name, but yeah, thinks it's like LoJack declined it and they removed the charge. The MSRP on the Civic Sport was $27,900.
I'm sorry, GBAT. I love you, but I still am not buying that they took $3,500 off, and so that you could buy that for $24,400. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it for a second. That's just
GBAT,
me.
Please feel free to send in a copy of your retail installment contract. We'd be happy to put our eyes on it to help us understand what happened there. You can email me directly, Zach, Z-A-C-H, at CarEdge.com.
Even if they had 10% margin, even if they had 10%, that's only $2,790. Okay?
Hondas don't have 10% margins.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just having a tough time with that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. That'd be a hell of a discount. I mean, maybe GBAT, send it in so we can talk about it on tomorrow's show.
So you can and don't send any money. Just send it in and say, "See, Ray, you're nothing but a windbag. You were wrong on this one." And I will, if I am wrong, I will readily admit that I was wrong. That's the kind of person I am.
Appreciate that about you, Pops. Really, really do. All right, we had another kind contribution just come in, and then we will turn our attention to the last story of today from Paul. Thank you, Paul. Insight on the Hyundai IONIQ 6. Also, okay, that's not an appropriate comment, but yes, Paul. Insights on the Hyundai IONIQ 6, Dad. I know that right now, I was just over at the Hyundai dealer here locally the other day looking around. I saw the IONIQ 5s they had selling below invoice price, significantly below invoice price. I think the IONIQ 6s are similar. They're not really selling. It's kind of the theme in EV land at the moment. So if you're in the market for an IONIQ 5 or an IONIQ 6, you should be able to negotiate a really solid deal.
Yes, you should definitely be below MSRP, and depending upon what region of the country you are in, you might even be able to be below invoice.
Yep, absolutely. We are seeing that. Hopefully we'll get a Hyundai dealer in the CarEdge dealer network sooner rather than later. All right, Dad, time for our favorite segment of the show.
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
All right, saw this just the other day, and man, oh man. Price increases over the last 10 years. Auto insurance up 85%. Auto maintenance and repair costs up 50%. Overall U.S. Consumer Price Index up 31%. Dad, this does not even include, obviously, the price increases for the new cars or used cars. But holy cow, man, auto insurance up 85%, auto repairs up 50%, and maintenance up 50%, CPI up 31%. Seeing it in a chart like this just makes it all the more real.
And that's over 10 years?
10 years.
Oh my, so one has to ask the question, what has forced insurance up 85% over a 10-year period of time? I can understand with the costs of cars going up and with the amount of electronics in cars, I can understand maintenance and repairs going up to a degree, but 50%? I don't know, that seems a tad bit high. But
yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Then again, in most states, if you'd like to own a car, you have to insure it. So we're kind of stuck
I was shocked when I saw
Yeah.
that, man. The fact that insurance has gone up almost 3 times inflation, and the fact that auto repair and maintenance is almost 2 times the rate of inflation. I mean, it's just it continues to hammer home the affordability crisis. And then when you think about the fact that new car prices have gone up as much as they have, used car prices have gone up as much as they have, it's just it's tough, man. When I saw that chart, it just made me think, really, you've got to be kidding me.
I remember during the COVID shutdown, where auto insurance rates actually dropped because, well, people weren't driving nearly as much. People were working from home instead of commuting, and insurance rates actually went down. And suddenly, they just keep going up. I keep driving less, and my insurance keeps going up. Maybe I should just drive a poop ton.
Justify that increase in cost.
Something. It is. Inflation is part and parcel of life.
Yeah.
But to see some of those jumps, that's just that's hard to take. If wages haven't kept pace, and in many cases and for many years wages
They
did
haven't.
not, wages were stagnant, that just makes it harder for people to afford just surviving.
Yeah, it really does. All right, folks, end of the month. That means we're finishing up our month here at CarEdge. If you're unfamiliar, you can purchase a vehicle directly on caredge.com. If you're in the market to sell or trade in your vehicle, click on that Sell or Trade tab and get competitive offers from dealers in your area. The extended warranty, $150 discount right now through the end of the month. Please, 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 even just as a research tool, enter your information so you can see what you might be getting into. What does it cost to protect a Buick, a brand new Buick Enclave in the state of Arizona? Drum roll, please. There you go. 10 years, 100,000 miles, 2848. There's no no BS, no email address even required to get that. All of our services, all of our tools,
right now you can take $150 off of that 2848.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And then for those of you that, don't appreciate necessarily that we have a business and a team and salary and payroll to make, resources, everything under resources, 100% free. Please go avail yourselves of all of those resources. But yeah, this is end of the month for us, trying to start 2024 off to a strong start. And thanks to you, we have, but just want to make everyone aware of all the various tools and resources back on the website.
I love it. I do love the new look of the website. It looks, it's only taken 4 years to
Progress is happiness, man. Progress is happiness.
Who knew it looked good 4 years ago? Now it looks really good. You live and you learn and you improve, and so yeah, I'm really enjoying the look of the website, and I just think it's so much easier for people to navigate it now than it was before.
Thank you, Pops. Yeah, we've got all sorts of fun stuff we're working on this week as well. Hopefully we'll have it out soon. But until then, go enjoy your lunch, Papa Shefska. I will enjoy mine. Thank you, everyone, for spending part of your day with us. And something tells me we'll be back here tomorrow at noon Eastern.
I'm pretty sure noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. So thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you here again tomorrow. Have a great day.
Love you, Pops.